thank God to social media in 2024, we already know what is there to see when it comes to traveling and living in certain countries and certain continents. Before, we didn't have that knowledge. I would even say 10, 20 years ago, all we get to see is movies that reflect on what that country wants you to see, or that writer or that director. Basically, movies and music videos were being used to convince or influence citizens of the world, and most of us fail for it. And as you know, as a result, when we see our situation, especially immigrants, when it comes to people immigrating, they see the situation. Why are we in this position? Most people look at their circumstance and see their countries, their own living situation, and they realize, wait a minute, there will be a better outcome if I leave my country, if I leave this continent, everything is going to be better. And they start their journey through, let's say, Mediterranean Sea, or through crossing over the desert, in which we lost so many people. Some of them are still seen as missing people because nobody found their bodies. No one knows where they are. And it's a sad reality that many families had to live. And when it comes to the Middle East, we know at some point even African governments started blocking our women from traveling to those Middle Eastern countries because of all the violence that they were facing, all the unaliving that was happening. So with the stories that we've seen from movies or documentaries, or a few people that leave the continent and they come back with a lot of money, that convinces you that you can only have a better life if you leave your country. And that is what's been happening until recently. But nowadays, because we have access to social media and we get to see what's really going on, we started realizing that it's not always true that the grass is greener on the other side. It's not always true that just because you leave your people behind and you try to find a job somewhere else, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get that job. And we also found out that even after you get the job, you might end up being depressed. You might end up losing your health because of the country that you are living in. And it's not the same as where you're coming from. We talked about how there's a huge migration back to Africa because the diasporas are realizing that it's not what we thought it was going to be. When it comes to weather, when it comes to expenses, when it comes to the lifestyle, they no longer find that appealing, so they're coming back to Africa. So with all that being considered, right now we're in a place where there's awareness and people are deciding to work where they are and to not put the Western world or the Middle Eastern countries on a pedestal. Let me show you what Museveni said when he was told by Americans, which is American government, when he was passing the law for the LGBTQ. He told us that they said, you will not be allowed to come to the US, you know. And his answer was, I don't want to come. If anything, I come to the US as a favor. Let me show you the clip. We'll come back and discuss.
The issue of the law we passed of the homosexuals. Some of the foreigners are making a lot of wasting their time. They try to put pressure on us. Well, pressure, if you don't do this, we shall not allow you to go to America. I don't want to go to America. I go to America as a favor to the Americans that I've come to visit you. Because here, what am I lacking here? Here, how can I okwegomba kugenda America to do what? Eh? This is the most comfortable place on earth. So these people, but all that arrogance of the foreign countries is because of not listening to the sermon of the preacher of today. Because if we don't use our talents fully, then we go into all those problems of begging, of borrowing, of that. This way it all starts. Let's use our talents fully. As the Bible says, we shall be lenders, not borrowers. That's what it says. It is in the Bible. So when you say that we are borrowing, we are begging, it is because we are not doing what the Bible told us to do. Self-sufficiency. We have the capacity, we don't lack anything. The economy is growing now. It's growing very well. Inflation, in spite of the problems which are still there, in spite of the corruption which is still there, but the economy is growing very well. We have got the lowest inflation rate. You check. One of the lowest in the world. And yet we have not done as much as we can. So therefore, don't be intimidated by all these fellows. If they don't, anybody who doesn't want to respect our sovereignty, tumusabira bye-bye. Katonda akubere. Now, finally, the Kanyanji, our Muslim people. I challenge the Muslim leaders who came to see me because they say they don't want to touch our PDM money and our Myoga money because there is riba, what they call riba is amagoba. Amagoba, profit. But I explained to some of the people I met, this money, PDM money, Emioga money, is grants from the government. Government about what day. It's not a loan to you. It is a grant to the circle, to your parish circle, or to your mioga. It's a grant from the government. Now, within yourselves, you lend, but the money is yours. Egenda kuvetororamu. Sente zigenda kuvetorora, zigenda kote erimwe. Now, we told you don't put big profit, big interest on that money, but put interest which will cover inflation, because you know there is inflation.
President Museveni saying this will have a huge impact on not just Ugandans, but also other people. It will create awareness like these countries we've put on a pedestal and thought will be the answer to every dream, every question that we have. It's not always actually the case, and we've seen how they treat our people. We've seen how it's not as perfect as Hollywood wants us to believe. They only show us certain areas, certain good things that maybe they practice. They don't show you all the racism, they don't show you all the violence, they don't show you all the issues that they have. So they paint a picture which is not fair, but they paint a picture of Africans in a different light, and that for a long time messed with our minds and made us believe that we're less than. Now we're starting to realize that no, it's actually not the case, and if anything, the system will work against you if you're there. You have a better chance of making it where you are at, because there's a lot that has not been done yet, and especially those in the expat community, they've been exposed to many industries that are not yet developed in Africa. Hence, they have the advantage of making money, growing those people that are working in that industry. And so it's good to see the change in our people day by day. Anyways, fam, let us know down below what your thoughts are about this. I am Wongel Zelalem.